So good afternoon, participants. Good afternoon, Gavaskar sir. So we have with us Thiru Gavaskar for this session on cloud automation. Sir is having about 14 plus years of experience in IT. He has worked in various real-time projects with various technologies. He is currently the delivery director of multi-cloud for you, and he has attained about 125 cloud certifications. He has won innovation award in Alibaba Cloud Global AI Challenge, and also he is the winner of Alibaba Cloud Developer Circle Award for the year 2021. He is currently the reviewer of Alibaba Cloud product in www.g2.com, and also he is the active writer of Alibaba Cloud in Quora, Reddit, Alibaba, and so many other works. He's engaged in so many other works, and we are really happy to have with you, sir, for this session. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So on behalf of Multi-Cloud for You, I like to welcome all the participants for this session. So let me share the slide first. Yeah. Madam, the slide is visible, madam. Hello.
Yes, sir. The slide is visible, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, madam. So good morning once again. Good afternoon once again. The topic we are going to see today is cloud automation. Myself, I am Gavaskar. Yes, I have 14 years of IT experience working across leading industry organization in the industry. I am delivery director of Multi-Cloud for You and MEP at Alibaba Cloud. You can see more detail about me in the given LinkedIn profile. I have 3 ACS certification, 3 Azure certification, and for all the 5 ACS certification in Alibaba Cloud. Now, moving to the agenda of today's session. First, we are going to see what is cloud, what are the advantages of cloud. Then we are going to see what is cloud automation and what are the different tools used for cloud automation. Now, then we are going to see what is introduction to Amazon Web Service. Of course, I am going to create an infrastructure by using Terraform automation tool in Amazon Web Service. So I had to give the introduction about Amazon Web Service, its feature of Amazon Web Service, and the global infrastructure provided by Amazon Web Service. Now, moving to the automation part, I am going to give a short introduction on what is DevOps and what are the automation tools used in DevOps. Now, I am going to give introduction on what is infrastructure as a code, and the Terraform is one of the automation software used for infrastructure as a code. I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain about Terraform and some syntax. I'm going to explain how to create infrastructure as a code by using Terraform. Now, a couple of demos are there with me, and one hands-on session is there with me. In first demo, I am going to show demonstration on how to create AWS account. I hope that somebody may be using the AWS account. Few of them may not be using the AWS account. So you can create AWS account if you have credit card details, credit card alone. Previously, if you want to create a AWS account, we need a credit card. Now by using debit card also you can create the AWS account. So I will be guiding you to create AWS account. So since we are going to create infrastructure by using automation tool Terraform in AWS. So I had to teach you how to create an AWS account. Then of course GitHub is another automation tool which we are going to use in DevOps for storing the code. It is used as a repository for your code. So I am going to show and demo on how to create GitHub account also. It is a repository for storing the code, so we need that. Okay, so then I am going to have a demo on how to create a Terraform account. Okay, now in Terraform it has come up with 2 options: Terraform CLI and Terraform Cloud. Terraform CLI, you have to use some commands. Few commands you have to use. But in Terraform Cloud, by using GUI mouse click, you can create an infrastructure in any of the cloud service provider. So now I am going to explain for you how to create a Terraform Cloud account also. And finally, one hands-on session will be there. In this hands-on session, what I am going to do is I am going to create an infrastructure automatically. I am going to create an infrastructure in Amazon Web Service. That's AWS Cloud. I am going to create an infrastructure that is by using Terraform. Again, here I am not going to use CLI. Terraform CLI I am not going to use. I am going to use Terraform Cloud. Yes, I hope you understand. Okay, now we can move to the next part. Now move into introduction to cloud. Nowadays you see most of the organizations move into cloud. So I can tell on before going to this definition for cloud, I can tell one example. Now we are having webinar, or we are having a session. So we are using cloud technology behind this. Yes, how we are using is where the chat information is stored, where the video is stored. Everything is stored in the data center, which is present in worldwide. Okay, so now moving to the definition of cloud computing, it is delivery of on-demand computing resources. The resources may be surveys, database, storage, platform, infrastructure, and application. So whatever services you are getting on demand from internet, we will tell that as a cloud computing, that you know here. Okay. Now moving to the features of cloud. I already told that nowadays most of the startup and organizations are moving to cloud. The first and foremost advantage for moving to cloud is reliability. So if you are hosting some application, or if you are deploying some application in cloud, there will not be downtime and there will not be resource outage. And one more concept you have to know here, that is service level agreement. So before you are going to deploy, or you are going to use cloud services, you will sign a service level agreement with a service provider. The service provider may be Alibaba Cloud or AWS Cloud or GCP Cloud. So the service provider will ensure that he will provide the services based on the agreement made with you through service level agreement. That's the thing you have to know here. Now moving to the second advantage, that is scalability. So of course we can scale the resource vertically and horizontally. Okay, where vertical scaling will happen in RAM. You can increase the RAM capacity in cloud. No, you see, if you are using 2 GB of RAM initially, and more number of workloads are there for you, then you have to increase to 3 GB or 5 GB of RAM. You can do that. Then in CPU core, initially you may be using 2-core CPU or 3-core CPU or 4-core CPU you may be using. Now if you want to increase to 6-core or 8-core like that, you can do that. Again, the RAM and CPU scaling we will do vertically. And virtual machine, it is an instance. It is similar to the physical machine which you are going to create. Yeah, this we will scale horizontally. That's the thing you have to know here. Scaling will be vertical and horizontally. Now moving to elasticity, it is another important feature of cloud. So you can scale the resource based on the demand. Okay, I got to tell one example for you here. So I hope everyone maybe know about Flipkart's Big Billion Day. Yeah, it is the Flipkart Big Billion Day. So during the Big Billion Day, Flipkart will announce offers. Certain hours, it may be 1 hour, it may be 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. they will announce some offer. So more number of peak workloads will be there. Okay, more number of users, millions of users will be accessing the surveys at the 1 hour of time. So what we can do is, for the 1 hour we can scale the resource, we can scale in the resource, we can add more resources for that 1 hour. And once the peak workload is over, that's peak, once the traffic demand is less, what we can do is we can scale down the resource. That's one of the beauty of our feature of using cloud. Okay, now moving to another feature, that is agility. So here, by using agility, what you can do is you can create and deploy application in cloud quickly. Within a minutes we can create some applications. Okay, I have to tell one more example for you when dealing with agility. So you think that you are going to create a PHP application. You want to create a PHP application. So traditionally what you will do, if you want to create a PHP application in your machine or in your physical machine, what you will do is first you will download Apache Tomcat server, then you will download MySQL, then what you have to do, you have to install both MySQL and Apache Tomcat server. Then you have to configure that, you have to configure the port number for MySQL. Then you have to do php.ini settings. So many settings you have to do. So it will take nearly half an hour. So it will take half an hour. So but you see, by using cloud, in cloud, all the cloud service providers, there is a marketplace. So you can get the PHP MySQL image. You can get the PHP MySQL image, and you can deploy your application within a minutes, and that too by using few mouse click. You did not want to write any coding or anything else. By using few mouse click, you can deploy your application. But application development, it is different. You have to develop the application separately, and deployment can be done within 5 to 6 minutes. That is one of the important advantage of cloud. Now moving to geo distribution. You can deploy application in any of the data centers which is available in the world. Some data centers are there. We can deploy where you want to deploy the application. You can deploy that application, and you can select the region based on the performance or based on your your preference. You can select the region where to deploy your application. Again, I can here to tell one more example for you here. So you think that you are going to deploy a video streaming application. You have to deploy a video streaming application, and more number of proximity user who is using that particular video streaming application is present in India. So what you can do is you can deploy your application in India data center. Since more number of proximity users and more number of users are using your application from India, you can deploy your application in India. So you can provide seamless experience for your users who are in India. Similarly, if you think that after some days more number of users are increasing in Singapore, again you can deploy your application in Singapore also. So okay, that's the thing. That's the beauty of cloud. Okay, so I hope you understand about the advantages of cloud. Now move into automation. So now you know that everywhere automation is there. Now we can tell now without automation there is no life. We can tell also. Now from starting from mobile device till no using our mobile phones or anything else. No, we are everywhere automation is there. Now similarly in cloud also automation is there. Okay, we can see that. Okay, now when I got the topic cloud computing, I just searched in Google cloud. No, when I got the topic cloud automation, I searched in Google, that's cloud automation. So it's coming like this. Okay, you see here, this is a Terraform. Terraform is one of the tool which is automation tool. So one of the important automation tool which is used for creating the infrastructure, creating the virtual mission in cloud. And Ansible, Kubernetes, Puppet, all these are the automation tools. Okay, so now I will we can see the definition for a cloud automation. It refers to the implementation of tools and process in an effort to reduce the manual intervention associated with the provisioning, configuring, and managing public, private, hybrid account. So for provisioning, managing and configuring the cloud, we are going to use some automation tools. Okay, these are the automation tools. Terraform, Ansible, Puppet, all these are automation tools which we are going to use for provisioning and configuring the cloud, public cloud, private cloud, or it is a hybrid cloud. That okay. Now these are the various automation tools. I will explain detail about this automation tool when coming to DevOps concept. Okay, so before that, I will give a short introduction about these tools. First tool we are going to use is GitHub. It is a source code management tool. It is a source code management tool, GitHub. So many other tools also there. The SCM is another tool. It is there now. Microsoft has Azure DevOps, like this. Many tools are there, but most probably in the industry they are using GitHub is a tool used for source code management. It is a source code repository, we can tell. So that if you think that 10 to 15 members are working in a team or 100 members are working in a team, and they may writing the code simultaneously. So what they can do is they can push their code in the GitHub repository simultaneously, so that the versioning of the code can be done. Versioning of the code can be done, and the latest coding can be got by the implementation team, so that they can implement that in the server. Okay, that is the advantage of GitHub. Now moving to another tool, that is Terraform. So if you want to create an infrastructure, in the cloud, no, you know the infrastructure means virtual machine you have to create virtual switches, you have to create virtual router, you have to create, and many more resources you have to create. Every time if you go and creating in the console, no, it will take more time. You think that you need to create 1,000 virtual machines. It will take more time. If you each and every time if you are doing it manually, it will take more time. So what we can do is we can create a code for creating the infrastructure. Okay, we can create a declarative configuration code for creating the infrastructure by using Terraform. Okay, so we can automate the creation of infrastructure by using Terraform. So that only in the Google search, no, Terraform is coming first in while you are searching cloud automation. And then of course Chef Ansible is there. It is used for provisioning. We will tell Chef Ansible as a provisioning tool. It's not a provisioning tool. If you once the server is created or once the infrastructure is created, if you want to provision your infrastructure, we can go for Chef and automation Ansible tools. That is, if you want to install some softwares in a virtual machine which is created, you can go for Chef and Ansible. And Jenkins is another important tool. Has a continuous integration and continuous delivery tool. So once you have posted your code in GitHub, once you have pushed your code in the GitHub, and this Jenkins tool, what it will do is it will automatically fetch the code from the GitHub by using actions, and it will run your code in the server. That's another advantage of Jenkins. And move into another two tools, Docker. Nowadays we are not using virtualization technology. Olden days, no virtualization technology is used. Nowadays we are creating a container. We are creating a container with all the files needed, and we are going to deploy the container. And how to manage that container? Once the container is deployed in the server, we got to manage that. That is Kubernetes. Kubernetes is a container orchestration tool which we are going to use for managing the Docker container which is deployed in a server. Okay, so these are the different automation tools which is used in cloud. Now move into AWS. Now move into AWS. Since I am in my hands-on session, I am going to create an infrastructure in Amazon AWS. So I had to give some introduction about AWS to you. Okay, so AWS is a comprehensive evolving cloud computing platform provided by Amazon. So in AWS, we can create all the three cloud computing services. We can create infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. I hope everyone know about infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So infrastructure as a service means you will provide the cloud service provider will provide you the hardware until the virtual machine. And what you have to do, you have to install the operating system, and you have to work with the data and application, and move into platform as a service till the OS installation and runtime will be provided by the cloud service provider. What you have to do is you have to install your application, and you can work with the data and application. You can work with data and application. And move into software as a service. Everything will be provided for you. Just what you have to do is you did not want to bother about the underlying infrastructure and the operating system also. Everything will be managed by the cloud service provider. Nowadays, software as a service is getting high momentum. Okay, now AWS is launched in the year 2006, and another important point you have to know here is AWS is the first company to introduce pay-as-you-go model in cloud computing. So I hope everyone know about pay-as-you-go model. I can tell one example for this. Okay, pay-as-you-go model, you will pay for whatever thing you are using, similar to electricity and water. Similar to electricity and water, you are going to use the computing resources. You are going to use the computing resources similar to electricity and water, and you will pay only for the usage. Okay, that is pay as you go model. It is one of the important model used in any cloud service providers. So now move into the global infrastructure provided by any cloud service provider, provided by AWS. Now you have to know the two terms, region and zone. You consider any cloud service provider. It is not particularly for AWS. You consider any cloud service providers. Regions will be there and zones will be there. And region is nothing but it is a location, or it is a region. It is a place where data center is there. Set of data centers are there. Okay, totally for in AWS 25 regions are there, and zone is individual data centers isolated with different power supply and different network connection. We will tell us soon. In the same region, 1 or 2 data centers will be there. So 1 or 2 data centers will be there, and it is isolated from each other by using network connections. So for what purpose zone is used is for providing high availability for the resources which is hosted in the cloud server. That is the thing. Okay, so you have to know 2 terms: regions and zones. And AWS has 81 availability zone. Each and every zone may have one more than one. Each and every regions may have more than one availability zone. That you have to know here. now moving to the our topic, that is cloud automation. So cloud automation is a topic where cloud automation means nothing but we will tell that as a DevOps in cloud. Okay, DevOps is the full form for development team and operation. Dev stands for development, Ops stands for operation. Okay, now we can see in the slide is DevOps. You see development team plus operation team. So now you see, I hope everyone know about the software development process. It will start with plan, then monitor, operate, deploy, then release, testing, building. It will go on. It's a cyclic process. Okay. So here in DevOps, both the development team and the operation team will join together. Okay. So you see in waterfall, you know that everyone may be knowing about waterfall model. Okay, waterfall model. So in waterfall model, there is no interlink between the testing team and the development team. Okay, testing team will be working individually, and implementation team will be working individually, and the development team will be working individually. Once there is any fault occurs, development team will blame the testing team will blame the development team, and in turn implementation team will blame the development team. So the finger pointing will be there. Okay, their finger pointing will be there in the traditional software development process. So by using DevOps, that is, we are going to have some automation tools. At each phase of software development, we are going to implement some automation tools so that there is no gap between the development team and the operation team. So no one can blame anybody. So since automation tool is there for in each and every software development lifecycle model, so no one can blame. So automatically, I can tell one workflow for you. When you think that I already told this example. When you think that more than 100 people are working in a project. Okay, so each but single repository, GitHub repository used, all are pushing the code in the repository. Automatically, you see what is happening is Jenkins tool is there. It will automatically push the code, get the code from the GitHub repository, and it will send to the server, and it will be running. Immediately you will commit the code. Once you committed the code, immediately you will get the output, get the result. And in turn, who has developed the particular code? The error message. If any error is there for a particular person developed the code, that for that person, notification will be sent in his mobile as well as through his mail. That's the thing. Okay, so no one can blame. So no one can blame each other. You had done mistake. He had done mistake. No one can tell that. That is DevOps. Okay, so DevOps is a software engineering culture and practice that aim at unifying software development and software operation team. It provides collaboration between the development and operation team. So here, both development team and operation team work together to share a common goal. So again, one more advantage, it provides consistent environment between the development and production environment. So you see, since the tool previously automation tools, before automation tools, we will create development environment separately and production environment separately. Again, it will be done manually. So your code will be running in the development environment, fine. There is no error in the development environment. But when you are running the code in the production environment, again, some error will be there. So now, since we are going to use some automation tools, Terraform or some set of automation tools, production environment and development environment both will be same for you. So you can without any change, you can deploy the code which is present in the development environment to the production environment, or you can ship the code from the development environment to the production environment without any change. That is one of the major advantage of using DevOps. Now moving to the it reduces the time and cost for developing the new feature. You see that again, since we are going to use some automation tools, if a new feature you have to develop within a short span of time, we can develop. And it contains set of technology and tools to automate project development. Okay, if you want to automate the project, DevOps contains certain tools. Okay, now moving to set of tools. I already explained that in all the development lifecycle models, different set of tools are used. Now I have categorized the tools into three. Okay, many categories are there. I have categorized the tools which we are going to use in DevOps into three. First one is source code management. It is used for managing your source code, versioning your source code. Okay, so most probably one centralized repository will be there. Either you can create centralized repository by using GitHub or SCM or DevOps, the Azure DevOps. So by everyone will be using the centralized repository so that we can find who have committed the change, who have done any mistake in the coding, and we can see the versioning of the code also. Everything you can do that. Okay, by using source code management tool. And I have categorized next category of tool, that is configuration and provisioning tool. Now here comes the Terraform plays an important role here. Okay, so configuration is nothing but creating the infrastructure. Okay, we got to know the difference between the configuration and provisioning tools. Configuration is creating infrastructure, and provisioning is if you want to install something inside the infrastructure which is provisioned, we will tell that as a provisioning tools. Okay, so configuration tool is Terraform, and provisioning tool is Ansible, Puppet. All these are provisioning tools. Now, next set of tool is containerization and monitoring. Nowadays, no, containerization is gathering the momentum. So we will not we will not deploy the application in a big server. No, we will create a container so that the container will contain all the set of libraries to run the program, and we will deploy the container. We will deploy the container in a container runtime. We will deploy the container in the container runtime, and to monitor the container. Once the container is deployed, we have to monitor the container. That is whether the container is working or not, whether our application which is deployed in the container is working or not. We will use some monitoring tools. The one of the monitoring tool we are using is Kubernetes. Kubernetes is one of the container orchestration or monitoring tool we are going to use. So these are the different categories of DevOps automation tools which we are going to use in cloud. Now moving to source code management tool. So GitHub. GitHub is one of the mostly used source code management tool. It's a huge repository. It has huge repository that provide a developer with graphical based interface tool to ship code through the pull request and code review. So you see here, more than 15 million developers all over the world are collaborated in GitHub. Okay, more than 15 million developers are collaborated in the GitHub. So you can create account in GitHub. So of course I am going to explain how to create account in GitHub. So you can use the GitHub for sharing the files. Okay, you can upload on file, you can share that file, and most probably developers are using GitHub for developing the coding. So once they develop the code, they will push the code. We will tell that as push. They will push the code or commit the code in the GitHub repository, and so that your code will be updated. Your code will be updated in the centralized repository. And one who want to get that code, no, he can pull that code. He can pull that code, and again he can change that. He can change that code and he can commit it. So that is working behind GitHub repository. Now moving to advantages of GitHub. It is easy to contribute our code to the open source project. Now you see most of the open source project, nearly billions of open source project, they are developing using GitHub. Okay, GitHub as a repository, so that many people should be working in a particular open source project worldwide, and they will share their code. They will share their code, and everything will be done in GitHub repository, using GitHub repository, and can be used as a project repository for project source code management. Okay, if you want to manage source code for your project, you can manage by using GitHub, and you can monitor and track the changes in the version of the code. Okay, you can monitor the versions of code, that is who have done the change, at what time he or she has done the code. If you want to come to the old version of the code, you can do that. You think that I can tell you an example here. So you think that 20 people are working in a project. One of the person has updated the code at 10 p.m. and there is a error in that coding. So what we can do is we can roll back to the coding which is already present, which is running properly. That's the thing we will tell us versioning of code. And another important advantage of GitHub is we can integrate GitHub with any cloud service provider available in the market. Okay, any cloud, it will work with any cloud service provider. The cloud service provider might be AWS, Amazon, GCP. So we can integrate our application which is deployed in GitHub with any cloud service provider available in the market. So now moving to the next set of tools, configuration and provisioning tool. So this is the important set of tools you got to know. So here you see, already I told that Terraform is an leader in this category of tools. Okay, provisioning tool, and Chef is there, and Ansible is there. So you see, if you go in internet and if you browse, we can see a number of tools. Many tools are there. You can see more for provisioning and configuration. No, we can see 20 to 25 tools. No, but these are the important tools. No, we have to know. So that only I have choose only 3 tools here. Okay, so provisioning tools. Now you see it is used to provision the infrastructure. It is used to create the infrastructure in any cloud service provider. The cloud service provider may be Alibaba Cloud or AWS or GCP. So if you want to provision or create the infrastructure, we are going for provisioning tools. And you see what are the components we can create by using provisioning tool is we can create server for deploying our application. We can create load balancer. If you want to, if you have peak workloads are there, if you want to balance the load between the backend service present, you can use that. Then for creating database, you can use Terraform or provisioning tools. And if you want to create networking devices, virtual networking devices, you can use provisioning tools. So provisioning tools can create surveys, load balancer, database, and all the set of resources which we want to create in infrastructure. Okay. So one of the best example for a provisioning tool is Terraform. Terraform is one of the best best tool for creating the infrastructure. Creating the infrastructure. It is open source tool. It is freely available. You can download that and you can use that. You can use that in both Windows as well as Mac operating system. Now moving to another set of tool, that is configuration tool. So already I explained, if you want to install and manage the software on the existing server in the infrastructure, we will go for configuration tool. That is, you see, you have created a server. You have created a server in any cloud service provider. Now in the server, in the virtual machine, what you have to do is you have to install some software, PHP, or you have to install Apache Tomcat server. You can go for configuration tools. Okay, so various tools present in this category are Chef, Ansible, Puppet, SolarWinds, CF Engine, SaltStack, and Ruda. These are the different configuration tools present in cloud automations. You got to know that. Okay. Now moving to the next category of tool, that is continuous integration and delivery. Here, many tools are there. Nowadays, no, each and every cloud service provider has come up with a tool. If you move into Azure, Azure has DevOps, so it contains all the set of tools for managing the project. Okay, Azure DevOps contain all the set of tools. Inbuilt tools are there, so that you can manage your project easily. Now moving to continuous integration. So you think the scenario that more number of people are working in a project, and centralized repository is used. So anyone committed to the code, anyone changed the code, that particular code has to be reflected. Particular code has to be reflected in the server, and you have to start we have to restart. We have to deploy the application in the server. Okay, it has to be reflected in the server, and what we have to do in turn, we have to deploy that application in the server. So in there comes Jenkins. So Jenkins, the tool will do is it will continuously monitor the GitHub repository, and if any commits happened, or if anyone changed the code and committed in the GitHub repository, it will automatically pick up that, and it will send the code to the deployment server, or it may be production server, or it will send to the deployment server. Okay, that is the role of Jenkins. Continuous integration is a development practice that requires developer to integrate code into a shared repository at regular interval. Jenkins is a powerful application that allow continuous integration and continuous delivery of your project. Now you see, it is open source. Again, Jenkins is an open source tool. Okay, more number of tools are there nowadays. No, Azure, GCP, and all the cloud service provider has their own tool for continuous integration and delivery. Now moving to another set of tools, that is containerization and monitoring. So you think traditionally, now first I will explain traditionally how we will create an application. You will, first of all, if you want to create a Java application, you think that you want to create a JSP application. Traditionally, what you will do is first you will download the Apache Tomcat server. First you will download Apache Tomcat server. Then you have to install JDK version in your system, and then you have to configure JSP. You have to, for JSP, you have to do some configuration, XML configuration you have to do. Okay, then you have to deploy your application in the Apache Tomcat server. Okay, now you see, now this is a traditional way. Now using virtualization, what you can do is you can create a separate in the same machine. You can create another virtual machine, and you can deploy the application. Okay, deploy the application in using virtualization. Now you see in containerization, what you can do is what are the things needed? What are the things needed for running the particular program? If it's a JSP program, we need Apache Tomcat server, and we need JDK version we need. So we will pack that. We will pack that into a container. We'll tell that as a container, so that all the run times needed to run particular application will be present in that particular container. Okay, particular container. So we'll tell that's a container. So all the configuration file and all the details, all the runtimes needed to run particular application will be present in the container, and the application will also be present in the container. So what you can do is we can deploy the container. Now the container will contain all the set of things to run your program, and we can deploy the container in a server, simple container in the server, so that your application will be running in a container. Okay, now here problem arise how to monitor the container. You got to monitor the container which is deployed in the server. So here comes what? Kubernetes. By using Kubernetes, you can monitor the container, whether application is running fine or not, whether any deployment is failed. Everything you can find using Kubernetes. Okay, that we can see in there. So container, it allow developer to pack up the application with all the parts needed. Docker is a container management tool. Okay, so Docker is the worldwide it's a leader in container management service. So for an enterprise, most of the projects they are using Docker. Now the keyword for Docker is develop, ship, and you can run the code anywhere. Okay, this container. It is similar to, you can refer container similar to the Java package. Okay, you are creating a package in, most of you know that how to create a package in Java. You will create a package in Java, jar file. So it is not package, jar file. You will create a jar file in Java, or if you are running with the .NET application, you will create exe application, exe, or you will run, if you are running C program, you will create object file. So that what is the advantage of jar file or exe? We can run that in anywhere. Once the jar file is ready, jar file is there or exe is there for your project, we can run that in any system, where the VM, where if it is a C sharp programming, there should be .NET framework should be there. Okay, particular environment is there, it will run. Okay, so Docker is also similar to that. You will develop the code, and you will ship the code, and so that the particular code can run anywhere. Okay, the whole idea of Docker is for developing, to easily develop applications, ship them in the container, which can be deployed anywhere. Okay, now to manage the container we had to use for another technology, that is Kubernetes. Kubernetes is a container management technology developed in Google Lab, and is used to orchestration of the container created. So if you want to manage the container, if you want to orchestrate the container which is created, we have to use Kubernetes. Okay. So now move into another concept, that is infrastructure as a code. So already we learned about how to provision the, we learned about provisioning tools. Okay, provisioning tool is used to create the infrastructure components such as servers, load balancers, databases, databases and network devices. Provisioning tool. So now we are going to create the whole infrastructure as a code, so that once we have created the code, if same deployment is needed, we can run that code alone. We did not want to create it manually, so we can run that code. That we tell us infrastructure as a code. So one of the most important tool we used in this case, that is infrastructure as a code is Terraform. Okay, Terraform. So now you see, infrastructure as a code is to design and build infrastructure component such as network, virtual machine, server, load balancer. These are the infrastructure components which we have to create in any cloud service provider. So we can use infrastructure as a code for creating the infrastructure component. So it is a mission readable definition file. Okay, it is a definition file. Okay, anyone can understand what is written there. Okay, anyone can understand. Even the person who is not having programming idea can also understand what is written in the definition file. So that the main advantages of infrastructure as a code is it will reduce the time and cost in developing the infrastructure. Okay, I already told that. If you see, you have written a file, machine readable file for creating 1,000 virtual machines. Okay, you think that you want to create 1,000 virtual machines. Okay, if you are creating it manually in the cloud infrastructure, it will take more time. So what you can do is by using code, no, you can use for loop. Yes, for loop, the 1 2000, like that, some mechanism is there. You can create the virtual machines easily within a few minutes. No, you can provision your infrastructure. Okay, that's the thing. That's the main advantage of infrastructure as a code. Now, different automation tools present are already told that Terraform is there, Ansible is there, Puppet is, and Chef is there. Okay, so by using infrastructure as a code, what we can do is we can reduce the time. Okay, you can see here. We can reduce the time in developing the infrastructure and reduce the manual work we can reduce. That's the main thing you have to know here. Okay, so traditionally we will create infrastructure by using console, AWS console, AWS or any console will go, we will create one by one. It will take more time. You think the scenario in the enterprise, if you want to create 1,000 virtual machines, it will take how many times it will take, how many manpower it will take. So that we can reduce by using infrastructure as a code. Then you see it will reduce the cost also. Okay, you see, if you want to create 1,000 virtual machine by using manually, you have to deploy more number of people for your job. So it will cost more. So the enterprise can reduce the amount by using infrastructure as a code, and in turn you can increase the quality. Okay, automatically if time is decreased and cost is decreased, the quality will be increasing. Okay, and so that what is the final product? Better customer experience will be there. Okay, that's the thing, infrastructure as a code. Now I am moving to the another topic, that is, so by how we can create infrastructure, as a code, or how we can provision an infrastructure in AWS or any cloud service provider. Terraform comes here. Okay, Terraform will support most of the cloud service provider available in the market. It will support AWS, it will support GCP, it will support Alibaba Cloud, and it will support IBM Cloud, like this. All the cloud, most of the cloud service provider is supported by Terraform. So that only it is leader in this market, in this market. Okay, that is provisioning tool. In case of provisioning tool, Terraform is the leader in this. Okay, so now we can see in detail about Terraform. It is an open source tool developed by HashiCorp. HashiCorp is the company which developed this tool, and this tool is developed by using Go language. And you see, again, it is an open source project. The code is available in GitHub. Okay, I told that already. Most of the open source project, they are developing by using GitHub. Okay, so what we will do is we will write declarative configuration of the infrastructure in a test file. Okay, in a test file, you will write the configuration. What are the resources you got to create? You will write. It's a machine readable and it's a human readable. Okay, anyone can understand what is present there. And what we can do is we can plan the resource which we are going to create an infrastructure. We can change the resource and we can destroy the infrastructure easily. Okay, again, one more, it's another advantage. You see, once you create the infrastructure, you have to dismantle that, or you have to terminate the infrastructure, terminate the way the resources created. You can do that. That is you can destroy the infrastructure also. Okay, I will explain this in the demo. So I will create an infrastructure in AWS, and in turn, after creating that, I will destroy the infrastructure also. That I will show in the demo clearly. Okay. So now, what are the advantages? It is easy to use. Of course, it is available in both Windows and Mac OS. It is easy to use, and I already mentioned this. It will support most of the cloud service provider. So that it is leader in this provisioning tools. It support most of the cloud service providers such as Alibaba Cloud, AWS, GCP, and Azure. Now, another important advantage, before creating infrastructure, you can plan the infrastructure. So you see, you can create a 500 virtual machines. First, you can plan how many. First, you can plan before creating actual infrastructure. You can plan here. Okay, that option is there. That option is present in Terraform. Okay, that also I will explain during the hands-on session. First, normally we will plan the infrastructure. After that, we will create the infrastructure in the cloud service provider. Okay, that I will explain clearly in the hands-on session. Okay, now moving to two options are there in the Terraform. Okay, Terraform has provided two options. One is you can use software as a service. Okay, I already explained software as a service. By using browser, you can do everything. You did not want to manage about underlying service or operating system. And one more option is there, command line interface. Okay, it is open source. Again, you see here, command line interface, it is open source, and Terraform cloud, it is not open source. It is, you have to pay for that. But we can create account. You can create account and you can use for testing purpose. For enterprise, if you want to use Terraform cloud for the enterprise, they have to pay money for that. Okay, so now Terraform CLI, it is open source and it is available freely. You can download that and you can use it in Windows as well as Mac. So now what is the difference between Terraform cloud and Terraform CLI? You have to know that. Okay, in Terraform CLI, what you have to do is, if you want to create the infrastructure or plan the infrastructure or destroy the infrastructure, you have to use commands. You have to use few commands. Few commands, CLI commands are there that you have to do. But in Terraform cloud, you can use some buttons. Some button will be there. If you want to plan the infrastructure, you got to use plan. Just one button will be there. You got to click that button so that the plan for the creating the infrastructure will be displayed for you. And if you want to destroy the infrastructure, destroy plan will be there. Destroy button will be there. Just you got to click the button. That's the difference. Okay. So CLI, you have to use command. In SAS application, software as a service application, you have to use some buttons, GUI buttons you can use for creating the infrastructure in Terraform Cloud. Now, what I have done is, I have created Terraform Cloud. I have created an account in Terraform Cloud. I'm going to use Terraform Cloud. I am not going to use Terraform CLI. Okay. So now moving to the another important concept: how to create a resource. How to create a resource in Terraform. Okay, this is a syntax. So you see, I told already, it is a declarative configuration file. It is a declarative configuration file. It's a declarative configuration test file. It's a test file where you write the configuration of the resource which you want to create. Now see here, this is a syntax. First resource will be there. Now you have to create a resource. Okay, resource may be, I told already, resource may be service, load balances, or database. Now see, for creating a resource, the syntax is a resource. You have to provide the provider name. Provider is Alibaba Cloud will be there, AWS will be there, GCP will be there. You have to provide the provider name underscore the type of the resource you are going to create. You have to provide type of the resource you are going to create. It may be instance or database. That name you have to provide here, and the name of the resource you have to provide. What is the name of the resource? The name of the resource may be instance 1, instance 2, like that. You have to provide the name of the instance and the configuration of the instance. What are the configuration for the particular instance? If you are going to create a virtual machine, what is the OS you are going to install? What is the IP address of the particular machine? All this you have to provide in this configuration section. Okay. Provider is a provider name. Type is a resource. Type of a resource you are going to create, and name is identifier. We can tell this as an identifier of the particular resource which we are going to create, or resource name we can tell. And config is the arguments you are going to provide for this particular resource. Okay, that we are telling. Okay, this is a syntax. This is a syntax for creating a resource in Terraform, using Terraform. In Terraform. Okay. Now moving to, this is an example. Okay, this is an example. I have given an example for creating a resource in AWS. Okay, now you see, I am going to create a resource. So I have to provide the keyword resource, and where I am going to create the resource, the provider name is AWS. Okay, I am going to create the resource in AWS. So I have to provide AWS underscore, and what type of resource I am going to create is instance. Okay, I am going to create a virtual machine. So we have to tell underscore instance. Okay, and example is the identifier of the instance which I am going to create, or resource name of the instance which I am going to create. Okay. Now open brace and close brace, in between you have to provide the configuration of the particular resource. AMI, Amazon Machine Image, it is a machine image. Which image I have to add from the OS? That's the thing you have to provide. This is nothing but OS. Okay. In AWS, no, mostly we will create, we will provide image. We will select image for loading the OS. So that's the thing, which image you have to load, and instance type. What type of instance you have to go into create? That's T2.macro. The different set of instances are there. In that particular example, I am going to use T2.macro. Okay, this is the example of resource file. So that it's a declarative configuration file in test. Declarative configuration test file. This is a sample code for creating an infrastructure. That is creating an instance in AWS. Okay. Now moving to variables. So now I hope you everyone know about variables. Okay, in all the programming languages, you have in C or C++ or Java, we cannot without declaring a variable, you cannot use any value, anything. No, you say if you want to write as I'll tell an example for that. Okay, if you want to write a sum of two number in the number one, in the number two, then in sum is equal to number one plus number two. So you cannot use variable without declaration. Okay, we cannot use variable, but in some other programming languages are there. Where there we can use without declaration also. Okay, we see coming to Python. No, we did not want to declare variable, and coming to PHP is the best example. No, PHP we did not want to create a variable. Just you can put a dollar symbol, the variable name equal to value. You can assign. Okay. Again in Java and C++ or Java, if you are creating integer variable, and you cannot store a string variable in that integer variable. That is okay. Again you can do that. You have to do some typecasting. But in case of Python and PHP, no, it is not there. What you can do? Directly you can add some variable, some values in that particular variable. Automatically it will convert that variable into integer or string like that. Okay. So similarly in Terraform also variable is there. You can create a variable. So for creating variable in Terraform, you have to use the keyword variable. Okay, you see, keyword variable and the variable identifier. This is AMI is an identifier. Okay, AMI is an identifier. And if you want to assign the value for this variable AMI, you have to use default. So keyword you have to use default equal to particular variable. It's a value. AMI -041 is a value. Okay, then again, next I'm going to create another variable. It's a variable instance underscore type. Okay, this is the identifier, instance underscore type. Default is equal to t2.nano. Okay, now how to access this variable, how to get the value from this variable is you listen here, dollar symbol, open brace, close brace, where.ami. Now what value will be assigned to this AMI is the value which is present the default AMI. Okay, so this is the syntax for creating variable in Terraform. And you see one more variable, instance underscore type is equal to dollar. So for accessing the variable, you have to use the keyword where dot the particular identifier, instance underscore name. Okay. So now you see in this example, provider is AWS. Okay, and the region, I already told that. Any cloud service provider, region will be there. Region and zone will be there. So I have to choose which region I am going to deploy this this instance. So that I am going to use US-East-1. Okay, this is the region I am going to use. Okay, so that's all about theory part. So now I will move to the demo, hands-on demo session. Okay, so in this session, mostly I am going to focus on Terraform. Okay, so I am going to focus on how to automate the creation of infrastructure. Okay, or how to automate the provisioning of infrastructure by using Terraform. Okay, so what are the things I am going to use is I am going to have GitHub repository. Okay, first thing I am going to create a GitHub repository, and I am going to place my code in GitHub repository. Okay, I am going to place the Terraform code. That is Terraform code will end with extension .tf, and I am going to place the code in Terraform in GitHub repository. And from Terraform cloud, I am going to call that. I am going to get the file from GitHub repository. Okay, I am going to get the file from GitHub repository in Terraform cloud, and from Terraform cloud, I am going to create, by using that file, I am going to create infrastructure in AWS. Okay. Okay, now I will explain with the diagram, then you will understand clearly. Okay, now this is a workflow I am going to do. So first you see infrastructure as a code. Okay, the code which is present declarative configuration of the test file. The declarative configuration of the infrastructure is present in infrastructure as a code. Okay, this we can tell shortly, we can tell as Terraform code. Okay, the Terraform code will end with extension .tf, that you have to know here, .tf. Okay, so this file I am going to store in GitHub repository. Okay, I am going to store in GitHub repository, and in turn this from GitHub repository I am going to get that file in Terraform cloud. Okay, Terraform cloud, and from Terraform cloud what I am going to do is I am going to create the infrastructure in AWS. Okay, in the AWS is a cloud service provider where I am going to create the infrastructure. I am in this case I am going to create a VPC, virtual private network. I am virtual private cloud I am going to create. I am going to create a switch, and I am going to create a network in AWS. Okay, So this is a step. I hope you understand. So infrastructure as a code is there. I'm going to push that code in GitHub repository, and from the GitHub repository, I am going to get Terraform Cloud is going to get that file, and in turn that file is going to run in any cloud service provider. No, it's not AWS. In my case, I have used AWS. Okay, this is the thing. So now I will explain one by one. I told set of demos are there with me. Okay, so I will show the demo of how to create AWS account. First, I will show the demo on how to create AWS account. So I hope that most of them may be using AWS. If you are not using AWS, you can create an account. Okay, so I will explain that first, and then I explain how to create GitHub account. Okay, how to create GitHub account, and then I explain how to create Terraform account. Okay, and both three are demo. It is a demo. I am going to show demo is nothing but I have recorded the video already. I am going to show that, and last no, I am going to show hands-on session on how to get the code, how to pull the code from GitHub repository, and by using Terraform Cloud, how to create the infrastructure in cloud service provider, that is AWS. That I'm going to show a hands-on demo for you. Okay, so I will show the demo. Okay, so it is audible, madam? Hello, screen is visible, madam? Hello, hello.
Yes,
Screen
yes,
is,
sir.
okay. Thank you, madam. Yeah. So now, now I have to show how to create account in GitHub. Okay, yeah, I will show that. Yeah, this is the thing. Yeah, madam, it is visible, madam. The video is visible. Hello.
The video is not visible.
Now.
Yes, sir. Video is visible, sir.
Okay. This is full screen. Either it is in full screen or it is any distortion is there? No. Any distortion is there? Distortion is there, madam? Any? No.
No, sir. No.
Okay. Thank you for the response, madam. Thank you. Okay. Now you see, I am going to create a GitHub account. Okay. I am going to create GitHub account. So you think that GitHub can be used only by the programmers? No, it is not like that. Okay, you can use GitHub account. Anyone, if you are not a programmer or if you are a faculty or anyone can create GitHub account, and you can store some files. You can store some files and you can share that file to you. Okay, so you think that in your college, I hope that most of them will be a faculty. In your college, you think that you have a file. You have one file is there. So it has to be edited by most of them simultaneously. Of course, you can do that in Google Drive. Google Drive is also there. So now all of them can create a GitHub account. Now what you can do is you can work with that file in a centralized GitHub repository. You can work with that file at the same time. No, and the HOD or somebody administrator can view that who has done the changes at the particular time, who has done the changes who has done the change particular time. Everything can be monitored by the administrator. That is the beauty of GitHub repository. Okay, so now this is a free account. No, free account. You can add n number of files in GitHub. Okay, so now what I have done is I have created a GitHub repository and I added 2 or 3 files. Okay, so now I will show the demo. So now just in the Google you search GitHub. So now now it is there. You click sign up. Okay, you click sign up. Now you have to give your username. You provide your username. You provide your it's username or you can provide but this is username. Okay, I has given wrong. This is your username. Yeah, it is username. It's not email. Okay, normally what we will do first email we will provide. So I provided wrongly. Okay, now this is the username you got to provide. Now one more thing, either you can log in with the username or password. Now is email username, or you can provide email also. Both login will be there. Okay, now you got to provide your email ID. Now you have to set the password. Yeah, now you got to set the password. So now you have to do some CAPTCHA verification. Yeah, now it is ready. Your account is created. Now you will get an. So now you have to choose your what is your role. You have to choose your role. You have to choose your role. So I have choose as product manager. So you can choose any role. Okay. Yeah. Now for what purpose you are using? You see here. For what purpose you are going to use GitHub? Okay, it is learning code or collaboration. Okay, you see, it's not only for using code. You can use as a code repository. You can use for a learning purpose also. Okay, if you want to share files, you can use GitHub. Okay, now complete setup. So you can provide your interest. So I provided cloud. AWS. So now you have to complete the verification, and you see verification link will be sent to your mail ID. Okay, so resend verification email. So it will get in our mail. So you have to verify your email address. Okay, so that your account will be created. Okay, your account will be created. So now you see I am going to create a repository. Okay, now I am going to create a repository. You see your repository. This is a dashboard, we can tell dashboard of repository. You see here, till now you are not done any contributions. Okay, if you done some contributions, no, here dot will be there. If you done some contribution during February this, dot will be there. Now you see you have created this, you didn't create a repository. Okay, so that only one dot will be there. Okay, so if you do some more contributions, no, more dot will be there. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, so you can contribute for the open source in GitHub. So now you see this is the, now you see I'm going to create a repository. Okay, this is you're going to go to repository. Okay, you have to click new. Okay, the left side you can see new. Yeah, now you have to give the, you see when creating repository, you have to provide the repository name. You have to provide the repository name and whether it's public or private. That's very important. Okay, if you want to give access for only for the authenticated users, then you can give us a private. Okay, if public, anyone can access this repository. Okay, you see your one URL will be there, Gavaskar project slash the repository name. If they are providing the repository name, anyone can access this repository and they can modify. Okay, so either you can provide us public repository or private repository. In my case, I have provided as public repository. Okay, so it's based on the purpose, your purpose. What is your purpose? You can provide this public as well as private. For me, in my repository, I have another one repository. This is a repository I created for demo. Another repository, some files, I keep as private. Okay, some projects. Most of my projects are I am using a GitHub repository. I keep that as a private, so no one can access that. So now, if you want to provide a README file, you can do. So now, at last, you have to click create repository so that your repository will be created. So now what I am going to do is I am going to upload one file. Okay, one test file. First I am going to upload one document. Okay, in one of the document I am going to upload. So one more thing you have to know here. I got done few mistake here. Okay, so once you upload the code, you have to commit that. Once you commit it, only the files will be uploaded or coding will be uploaded. Okay, that you have to know here. So that for me, initially I struggled a lot. I didn't commit it. Okay, now we see. Yeah, one resource is created. Yeah, drag and drop file. So I am going to use one file, any image or anything. No, you can do that. Okay, now ACA is practice test. Okay, now we see commit. You have to click commit. Some questions I have uploaded. Okay, you have to click commit. Commit changes. If you are not clicking commit changes, so no error is there. Okay, no problem. Internet problem. So that only okay. When I am recording, some internet problem is there. Okay, no problem. Okay, again we can choose. Yeah, you can choose the file. Again, I am going to choose some file. Okay, now you see, yeah, it is done. Download.html, and I already I uploaded one more file also. So now, yeah, it says you see here, these two files are there. Okay, these two files are there. Okay, so now you can share this file. Okay, you see in the download, no, you click this, no, you can find one link will be there for sharing this repository. One link will be there. I didn't demonstrate that. If possible, I can show that, show in the hands-on session. Okay, here in the code, no, if you click this code, one link will be there. Using that link, you can access this file, this repository. Anyone can access this repository. That is the advantage. Okay, so if you want, you can create, you can set the repository as a private or public. That is your own will and wish. Okay, now you see that's all about GitHub repository. So I hope you understand how to create account in GitHub repository. Okay, now I will explain how to create AWS account. Okay, first I will explain how to create AWS account. Okay, again it is very simple. AWS account, you can use your debit card detail. Okay, once upon a time, when I created my account 5 to 6 years back, we cannot create account by using debit card. Only by using credit card we can create account. But now AWS has made provision to create account by using debit card. Okay, now so now in Google you type AWS. Okay, AWS. Now you click first link. Okay, first link service. Now you see create a free tier account. Okay, now you see here AWS. No, we can create a free tier account so that we can use 45 plus free services at any time, free services, and all the other services we can use freely for 1 year. Okay, 1 year you can use the service freely. So that's the free tier account. So if you want to create a free tier account, you got to click free tier account. One option is there. You got to click that. Okay, now you see it will ask your details, personal details. Okay, your personal details, your email ID. First it will ask 5 steps are there. 5 steps are there to create account in AWS. Yeah, now you have to provide your email ID. So yeah, password. You have to provide your password. So now you have to provide the account username. This is nothing but the username. Okay.
Sir, excuse me, sir. We want to open the file with the VLC media player, sir. Open with the VLC media player.
Yeah, I have opened VLC only. It's not visible, sir. Hello?
No, sir. Whether I want to open the file with the VLC media player, sir.
No, sir. You have to create account. Create account. You have to go to www.aws.amazon.com and you have to create account.
Okay. Then why you have clicked the file and open with the VLC media player, sir?
I have recorded that, sir. I have recorded for creating the AWS. No, if I am demonstrating at the same time, no, it will take more time. No, so that only I recorded that. Okay, the process I recorded. You understand?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So you see, if I am creating at the same time, no, it will take more time. So each and every time validation will be sent. I have to provide credit card information, debit card information. I have to provide. Now, if I am providing that, no, it will security breach will be there. You understand?
Sir. Okay. Sure.
So what I am doing is I have recorded the video prior. Before this session, I have recorded the video and I am showing that.
Okay,
so
sir. Okay.
certain thing, no, we cannot do live. That restrictions are there. So you had to be patient for that. No other way. Okay, now you see credit card information. Okay. So you see at the time of demo, when I'm showing the hands-on session, can I provide the details here? No, it is not possible. No, I cannot show the details. So that only I create an account. So I'm explaining you to create how to create. Okay. Yeah, now you have to provide the name and see as usual. No, if you are doing any payment by using your debit card detail, you can do that. Okay, now you have to verify. Yeah, now it will ask OTP. it will ask OTP to your mobile. OTP will send to your mobile. Now initially 2 rupees will be debited. Okay, initially 2 rupees will be debited. Again, it will be credited to your account. Okay, initially. So it has to check whether your account contain amount or not. So your amount will not be debited. Okay, once if you are using the paid services anytime, if you are using paid services, your amount will be debited from the credit card or debit card. But if you are not using any paid services, it will not be done. Okay. So now again, you have to provide the mobile number and the verification code. Yeah, now you have to provide the verification code which is sent to your mobile. So it's 2016. Okay. So now complete sign up. You have to click complete sign up. Okay. So this is a process for creating free tier account in AWS. So now you got now the account is created. You can go to AWS management console, sign in. It will ask for sign in. Again, you can select your role. Okay, what if you want, you can provide your role. You can provide your role and your interest. You can provide. So you have to choose the role and you have to choose the interest. You can now click submit. Okay, now the account will be created. Now you have to sign into the console. Now you have to sign into the console. Now you will be taken to the sign in page. Now you have to provide root user. You have to select a root user and yeah, once again I will explain. So now you have to provide a root user. Okay, and you have to provide the root user your email. So now in my case ID is gavaskar.projects@gmail.com. Okay, now next, and now you have to provide the password. So now you have to provide the password. So now we will be taken to the AWS console. Okay, AWS console. Now you can see all the services, and if you want to create any resource, you can do that. Everything you can do that in AWS. Okay, so this is a short steps for creating AWS account. So for what purpose I am going to show this demo is I am going to create a service, create infrastructure. I am going to deploy an infrastructure by using Terraform in AWS. Okay, so Terraform is one of the automation tool. By that automation tool, I am going to deploy or create infrastructure components in AWS. So AWS is a public cloud service provider. Okay, so that really I have explained how to create account in AWS. Okay, so if you want, you can create the account. So now that's all. Okay, creating account is over. Now what I have to do is I have to create Terraform. So now what I am going to do is I am going to create infrastructure through Terraform Cloud. Okay, so now I have to create account in Terraform Cloud. Okay, so that process I will explain now. Yeah, now you have to click Terraform Cloud so that you will be taken to the website terraform.io, and you see you have to click create account. You have to click create account. So now you have to provide the username, email, and the password. To create a Terraform Cloud account, you have to provide your username. Now again, username and you have to provide the email. Password. Now you got to create account. So now the account is created. Now you got to activate the account. Okay. So confirmation link will be sent to your mail ID. So it will take sometimes no, it will not authenticate you. It will take some time. Okay. So in my case, no, 3 times I have sent the confirmation link. So after the 4th time only it gets authenticated me. Okay. So I will skip some steps. Okay. So now again, so once you created the account, you have to confirm your email. Okay, by sending the you have to send the confirmation link to your mail, and one link will be sent. You have to click that link. Okay, you see, for me now I am getting some link. You have to click that link. Yeah, now it is ready. Okay, now you have to create. You have to create. You have to select the workflow. Okay, start from scratch. You have to create an organization. Okay, you have to provide organization name. Any name you can provide. You can provide your own name there. And email, and you can create the organization. So it is not allowed. Space is not allowed. Okay, so you can create organization. Yeah, now you have to create version control workflow. We have to create the workflow. So now what I have to do is I have to configure this account, this Terraform with the JITcup. Okay, Terraform you have to configure with the JITcup. Okay, that's the thing I'm going to do. Okay, so I already told that the workflow is what? Workflow is what? From the JITcup repository, we are going to get the code in the Terraform, and from the Terraform, we are going to run that code in the AWS public cloud service provider. Okay, now you got to configure your Terraform with the JITcup. That's the process I am going to do. Okay, I will skip some steps. Okay, now.
Sir, repeat one more time, sir.
Okay.
Step by step.
So,
first GitHub, and then
first you got to create JITcup account. So now
okay.
in this case, no, in Terraform you have to configure the JITcup account. You have to configure your JITcup account in the Terraform cloud. Okay, here in this workspace you have to configure that. Okay, so that's the thing I am doing. So that's nothing but when you are clicking here, no, it will ask the username and password of your JITcup account. You have to provide that. So it will take some time for configuring your JITcup account with the Terraform cloud. Okay. Okay, sir. So I'll skip some steps. Okay, now it is ready. It is configured. So you'll ask your username and JITcup username and password. Okay, you have to give your JITcup username and password. So it is very simple, but initially, you will think that it is very difficult, but it's actually a very simple concept. Okay, so just we have to provide username and password of JITcup. So that's nothing but simple concept I am going to do here. Just I am linking the Terraform with the JITcup account. Okay, with my JITcup account, I am going to link the Terraform. That's the thing I am going to do. A simple process. Yeah, now you have to verify. You see, if I am using this, if I am giving a live demo, the problem is this time it will take more time. Okay, so that way I have recorded this video. So you can copy this. Again, you have to paste it over there. Okay. So you have to open. You have to open that pop-up window. Okay, verify. Okay, that's all. Okay, now your JITcup account is synchronized with the Terraform cloud. Okay, it is synchronized with the Terraform cloud. Now we can sign in. Okay, that's all. It's completed. Okay. So that's all, it's completed. See. Now install. Yeah, it's ready. You see here, it's taken some time. You see Gavaskar dot project is the first. This is a repository which I created. Okay, you see this is linked here. Okay, very simple. But since no, in my browser, no, I didn't enable the pop-up. So that's the thing. It will take more time. So just you got to provide your GitHub username and password. It will be configured. You see here, my case, no, Gavaskar projects. It is a repository. I have created my RUP. It is a repository which I created. This is popping here. It's now it is configured. You see, I can see all the files which is present. Okay, now you have to choose the repository and you have to create the workspace. Okay, in Terraform Cloud you have to create a workspace. That's all. Okay, this is about configuring GitHub with Terraform. Okay, that's all. Okay, now once again I will explain the flow. Somebody are asking doubt. Somebody asked doubt. No, so I will explain the flow. What I am going to do. You see here, the flow is infrastructure as a code. This is a Terraform code. That .tf code is present in Git. I am going to it is present in GitHub repository. Okay, and from GitHub repository I am linking with the Terraform. GitHub I am linking with the Terraform. Okay, and from the Terraform I am going to call the AWS. I'm going to create infrastructure in AWS by this, which is present infrastructure details, which is present in the Terraform code. That is infrastructure as a code. I am going to create in the AWS. That's the thing. Okay, that's the workflow. So now I think that everything is over. Now I have to proceed with the hands-on session. Okay. So I hope I created GitHub account. I created Terraform account, and I created AWS account. Okay. So now moving to. So I will show first. I will show the repository which I created. Okay. I will show the repository which I created. This is my repository. Okay, Gavaskar.project. It is a repository which I created for this demo. Okay, now you see my Terraform coding. So that is what infrastructure as a code. The infrastructure as a code is a code in a declarative format. It's a file. It is nothing but a test file in a declarative format. Okay, see, this is my Terraform underscore. Yeah, now you see this is my repository. Okay, this is my repository. Terraform underscore AWS is my repository. Now you see, if you want to share this, no, you see I told no, if you want to share this file to somebody else, just you can click, you can send this link so that somebody who know they can share this file, they can get this file. And if you want to download the zip file of this, no, you can download that. And if you want to get this in a desktop, GitHub desktop, which is another software, another exe file, you can use that for getting this also. Okay, now you see I have created one code, main.tf. Main.tf is the Terraform. I told no, Terraform code ends with .tf extension. Okay, I created this and I have uploaded this in GitHub repository. Okay, now this is a coding. You see here, already I explained the syntax for creating the resource. I already explained the syntax. Okay, you see here, provider, I am going to use AWS. The region where I am going to deploy the resource is AP-south-1. Okay, now the resource I am going to create is the resource. So AWS is a provider name, and VPC is the resource. Virtual private cloud is the resource I am going to create, and this VPC _1 is identifier for this particular resource. Okay, now CIDR block, the particular virtual private cloud, I have to give the IP address. In CIDR notation, I have to give the IP address for this particular virtual machine. Okay, but it's not virtual machine, particular virtual private cloud. Okay, I'm going to create a network. You know that if you want to create a network, IP addressing and subnetting is very, very important. You know, I hope that everyone may be knowing the subnetting and IP address. So you have to give the IP address in this format, CIDR notation, and you have to give the tenants as default. This is a default thing you have to provide. And tag for the name, you have to provide some other name for this node. And for that we can use tag. Tag names equal to VPC1. Okay, so here what I am doing is I am going to create a VPC with CIDR block 192.168.0.0/16 in AWS. Okay, this is the coding for that. Now you see, this is another resource. Again, I am going to create another resource. I am going to create a VPC, virtual private cloud. In that VPC, I am going to create another subnet. One subnet I am going to create. Okay, that is VPC _1 _sub _1. This is subnet which I am going to create inside this VPC. So you see here VPC _ID. You see the AWS dot _ VPC dot VPC1 dot ID. This you are referring this VPC here actually. And again, you have to provide CIDR block, the IP address in CIDR notation you have to provide. The IP address I am going to provide for the subnet is 192.168.1.0./24. And the tag I am going to provide subnet -1. So in short, this is actual Terraform file. Okay, this actual Terraform file. It's a declarative configuration of the resource which I am going to create. In this case, I am going to create VPC, virtual private cloud, and subnet I am going to create. I am going to create a VPC. Inside that VPC, I am going to create a subnet. Okay, and you see, these are the what CIDR block. This is a configurations. Okay, this is arguments which you are going to provide for this particular resource which you are going to create in AWS. Okay, now I hope you understand. This Terraform file is present in my GitHub repository. Okay, now what I had to do is I had to configure this in my Terraform cloud account. Okay, Terraform cloud account. Okay, now I have Terraform cloud here. Okay, it is there. Okay, I already log in. Since if I am log in now, it will take time. Okay, so I have already log in. Okay, so now you see, I will explain already. Okay, now go to the organization. Now I am going to create a new workspace. Okay, now I am going to show how to configure GitHub with Terraform cloud. Okay, now new workspace you have to create. First you have to create new workspace. Now here you have to provide version control workflow. You have to choose version control workflow. Now you see you have to configure with the GitHub. Now you see automatically I already configured that. So automatically the GitHub account is coming here and all the repository which is present in the GitHub is coming here. You understand? So all the repository which is present in GitHub is coming here. Now you got to choose the repository AWS _ Terraform _ AWS. This is a repository where Terraform file resides, where Terraform file main.tf file is there. Okay, main.tf file only what is there? The declarative configuration of the resource which I am going to create is present in that Terraform file. Okay, in that Terraform file main.tf. So now you see I am going to provide test. Okay, test. Okay, test. Some descriptions, and I am going to create a workspace. Okay, so before running your Terraform file, you have to create a workspace first in Terraform cloud. Okay, so I am going to create a workspace. So already Terraform _ AWS is present. Okay, so that only it's coming error. Okay, now I will give some other name, then it will work. Okay, create workspace. Yeah, workspace is created. Okay, so now after creating the workspace, what you have to do is you have to configure the environment variable. Okay, you have to configure the environment variable. That's you have to do. Go to variable. Okay, variable. Yeah, you have to add environment variable. Okay, add environment variable. You have to set the in AWS, from AWS. No, you have to set the IAM. In identity and access management, you have to create some users. Okay, you have to create user, one access key and secret key you have to create. Okay, I will explain that by using AWS console. Okay, I will go to AWS console. Yeah. Now you have to provide the IAM user account. Okay, IAM user. Okay, now in my case, I have provided this security credentials. So you see here, this is the access key and access key secret you have to provide here. Okay, access key and access key secret will come here, but now I cannot provide that. Okay, security purpose I cannot provide that. Okay, you can get that if you are creating an account and if you are providing IAM access, you can get that. Okay, now you have to provide that over here. That's you have to provide variable like AWS _ access _ key _ ID you have to provide here, and AWS _ secret _ access _ key you have to provide two environment variables you have to create. Okay, here you have to create two environment variable. So that's all of the settings you have to do. Now what I am going to do is I already have created a workspace. Okay, this is Terraform _ AWS workspace. I am going to work with this. Okay, since I cannot configure the security settings here now, since if I am giving the access key and access password, if I am going to provide here, it's a risk for my account. Okay, so I am not going to provide that. So now what I am going to do is I am going to run. Already I have configured, so I'm going to run it. This is the Terraform _ AWS. This is the account. Okay, so here I have to now you go to, so now you see variable. So I will show that variable. You see AWS _ access _ key _ ID. Okay, this is what this is. I am user account. From user account I am creating a user access key and a secret key I am using, and I am going to provide that. Okay, understand here. Now I am going to create the infrastructure. You see, I am going to create an infrastructure. That's I am going to create an infrastructure in AWS cloud. Okay, now I will show in AWS. There is no, you see, VPC. I'm going to create VPC in AWS. Okay, now you see, totally how many VPC is there? Only one VPC is there. Okay, now there is only one virtual private cloud. You see, only one default VPC is there. Now you see what I am going to do is, you see already I explained the code. The VPC name I am going to create is VPC _1. This is a VPC I am going to create in AWS, and this is a subnet I am going to create in AWS through Terraform Cloud. Now you see I'm going to run this. Okay, queue plan. I told already, by using Terraform you can plan the resource. Okay, what are the resources you are going to create? You can have a plan. So first I am going to run queue plan. This is a button you have to click. So if you are using CLI, what you have to do is you have to type the command. Okay, this here button click. So now it will display the plan. Yeah, now it's see plan is running in Terraform. This version is displaying and the plan is running, and if you see it is display the plan. Okay, how many two things I am going to create? It is displaying the plan for me. Okay, it is displaying the plan for me. Okay, this is the coding I have to do that. So it is displaying the plan to create the infrastructure. Now still now I didn't create the infrastructure. Okay, plan is displayed. Okay, so you can plan the resource which you are going to create before creating actual infrastructure in AWS. Now you see I have run the plan. Now I go here. You can see there is no infrastructure will be created. VPC -1 virtual private cloud is not created. Now you see what is going to happen. Now I will click confirm and apply. Okay, now I'm going to click confirm and apply. Now you see what is happening. Creating VPC. Okay, test for creating VPC. Now you see here is no VPC is created here. Okay. now you see I am going to run this code. Okay, confirm and plan. Just you click confirm and plan. Now it is running. Yeah, now it is running. You see. So before creating actual infrastructure, it is creating. If you before creating actual infrastructure in AWS or any cloud service provider, what you can do is you can plan the infrastructure. So how many resources are created? Okay. So it is completed. Apply completed. Two resources are created. Okay. So you see in the Terraform file, main.tf file, I created two resources, one virtual private cloud and one subnet. Now we can see whether this resources is created in AWS or not. Whether this resource is created in AWS. Now we see I'm going to click this. So I refresh this page. Okay. Yeah, now we see here VPC -1. This is the resource which is present. This is a file. This is a Terraform file. This resource is present. You see, I will display that Terraform file. Okay, now this is the thing. Okay, you see VPC -1. The name, you see name VPC -1 is there. Okay, which is created. The infrastructure is created actually. Now you see, you can see the infrastructure VPC1. So this is the IP address. So you see, I given this IP address 192.168.0.0.16. This infrastructure is created. Now you see one more. Now you see subnet. Okay, I create in this code. I have created one VPC and one subnet. Okay, now we can see whether subnet is created or not. Now we see. Okay, now you see subnet 1, it is created. Okay, again you see, I'll display the code subnet 1. Okay, subnet -1. This code is this subnet is also created. Okay, you understand? So now I have created infrastructure in AWS cloud. Okay, this is a basic resource I have created. Okay, you can create advanced resources like EC2 instance or some or database. You can create RDS instance. You can create. You can do so like this. Many things you can do. But now what I have done is I have created a VPC, virtual private cloud, and a subnet inside the virtual private cloud I have created. Yes. Okay, that's all. Now you see. Now you see what I have created a resource. Now I get to delete the resource. The resource is not needed. So I have created the resource for demo purpose. Yes or no? Yes, I have created the resource for your demo purpose. Now the resource is not needed for me. Okay, no. Now what I can do is I can delete the resource. Okay, that's the thing. No, you see. Now I created two resources, as VPC and subnet. Okay, VPC with name VPC-1 and subnet with subnet-1. Now you see, I have to delete the resource. Okay, resource is not needed. But actually, if you are not using this automation tool, you have to do it manually. You see, if you are creating the VPC, you have to click create VPC, and for subnet you have to click this, and you have to do it manually. But it's happening automatically. Now again, if you want to delete this, if you are not using Terraform, and if you want to delete this, again you have individually we have to delete this. Now you see the situation that here in my case, only one VPC I have created. You see, in my case, I created only one VPC, so it is easy for deleting. Now you see 1000 VPC are created. 1000 VPC is created. I think that in a big enterprise, 1000 VPC, 1000 virtual machines need to be created, and 1000 VPC need to be created. Again we have to deploy more than 10 to 15 people for that, for creating the VPC around. Again you for deleting. Again we have to do that. So now how we can automate this coding? You see this coding. Now I am going to run this code. You see destruction and deletion. Now I am going to destruction and deletion. So now query destroy plan. Now what I am going to do is I am going to plan for that. Okay, again for destroy also I am going to plan. Now you have to run this query destroy plan, and you have to confirm that delete. Okay, you have to give delete. No, that's name. Terraform, this name you have to provide. So if you are deleted, no, the whole infrastructure will be deleted. So you have to provide this particular name of that workspace. You have to provide Terraform _ AWS I have to provide. Okay, now you see I am going to run query destroy plan. I'm not going to destroy the resource. I'm not going to delete the resource. Now I am going to run the query destroy plan alone. Okay, I am going to plan that. Okay, now it is happening. You see what is happening. Yeah, now it is running. So now the resource will not be deleted. I am planning for destruction. Okay, destruction of resource I am going to plan. Okay, now you see 0. Now you see the resource is not, plan is completed. Okay, now if you want, now you see I will. So now you see, you can see whether the resource is deleted or not. The resource is not deleted. Okay, it is there. Okay, you see, can yeah, VPC1 is there. Yes. Now you see what I am going to do is I am going to delete this. Okay, I am going to destruction. I am going to run the destruction query. Okay. Confirm. Now you click confirm. It is running. So its plan is completed. Now actual destruction is running now. Destruction query is running. Okay, now your resource will be, my resources which I created in this particular VPC will be deleted. Now it's completed. Okay, it's deleted. Two resources are deleted. Now we see, you may think that why we can do it manually, but you see the scenario, enterprise scenario, more than 1000 VPCs are there. If you can delete it manually, it will take more time. Yes, more time it will take. So by using code, you see, by a mouse click, no, you can delete that within a minute. You can delete all the resources. Okay, that is the role of automation, cloud automation. That is the role of cloud automation here. Now you see here. Now again, you see I am going to find that whether it is deleted or not. That particular resource is deleted or not. Yeah, it is deleted. You see that resource is not present. Okay. Now again you see here, now if you want to create a resource again, you see same resource again I want to create. Again I can create the resource. Okay, again I can create the resource. Okay. Again I have to go. You see again query plan manual query plan. You type query plan, it will plan the resource. So you see how easy it is. No, within a second you can create the resource and you can delete the resource. Okay. So now again I am planning. Okay, plan is completed. So now again you see it's pending, apply is pending. Again I confirm and I can create a resource. Okay, that's the advantage of Terraform Cloud. So that only in Google Cloud, Google, if you search cloud automation, this tool is coming first. Okay, you can search that now. Okay, so now you see what is going to happen. I am going to click confirm and apply again. Okay, so I am giving test confirm. Yeah, now what is happening? You can see whether resources is created in my cloud, in my cloud account. You can see. Okay, yeah, now it is creating. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, completed. Now you see again the resource will be created. You understand the advantages of advantage of Terraform Cloud. Okay, this is a infrastructure provisioning tool. It's a leader. You see VPC1 is created. Okay, it is a infrastructure leader in infrastructure provisioning tool. Okay, so since I have created only one resource, you may not think that automation is not there. But automation, you may think that automation, where automation is happening, you may think. But you see the scenario, real-time scenario, thousands of virtual machines are there. How we will delete that? Individually, if you are deleting that manually, you will not delete some instance. So you have to pay. The enterprise has to pay for that. But see here, by using Terraform, you can automatically do the destruction also. Okay, you can do the destruction plan settings. If you go destruction, you can delete the resource by using few mouse click. You can do that. Okay, that's all of the day. So now we can now it is running. So I will destroy the resource now itself. Okay, else it will be a burden for me. So I will wait for 2 minutes. I will destroy the resource. Okay, it's for demo purpose I have created. Okay, so again I will explain the workflow which we are doing. So first we are going to create a Terraform. We are going to write a Terraform file. Okay, it's a declarative configuration of the resource we are going to create. Okay, then you are going to upload that in the GitHub repository. Then you are going to configure the GitHub repository with your Terraform Cloud account, and then from Terraform Cloud you are going to create a resource in cloud service provider. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Wait. So that I will complete this. No, if I am not complete, I will forget and my different. Okay, now. Yeah, now I will go to my screen. Okay. So I hope you had a good session with me. So these are the Terraform is the leader of provisioning tool that I hope that I has covered few things and you got few idea on how to create the infrastructure, how to create a Alibaba AWS account, what is GitHub and what is Terraform Cloud and what is infrastructure as a code and how to create an infrastructure by using infrastructure as a code. I hope that you may got something. So thank you for your patient listening. And you can contact me by this LinkedIn profile. Okay, now any doubts or any clarification, I am ready to answer for that. Yeah.
Participants, if you have any clarifications, you kindly ask. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful session, sir.
Thank you.
So you shared so many informations. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much for sparing your time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your patient listening. And saying I have to thank ACT Training and Learning Atal Online Faculty Development and all the coordinators. I have to thank on behalf of Multicloud for you, and I like to thank all of you, all the coordinators of this particular FTP. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.